Hey you guys, today I wanted to talk about photography and filming at LARP and why you should definitely ask every game before you bring your camera. One of the first things you should consider when you're thinking about filming or taking pictures at the LARP that you play or a LARP that you plan to visit is the kind of community standards for taking pictures of other people. Some people like it, some people don't ever want pictures of them LARPing put on the internet. And so you have to kind of ask what is okay in the community. Is it okay to take pictures of other people or should you ask permission? And then you also need to think about the standards of the game and what is normal and what isn't for the game. For example, at one game I visited, it was totally fine to have your camera in play and take pictures as long as you ask permission first. Another example, a game I play, um, you should not have modern things visible unless it's something that you need medically, for example. So having this out and saying, "Can I take a picture of you?" is a huge no-no because it's breaking character and it's kind of just intrusively breaking character towards another person. Like they have no way to escape this and be like, "Oh, I didn't see that." Like you have a camera in front of them and they're just like, "Oh, but it's supposed to be kind of ninth century fantasy and you've got a camera," and so it might be a little awkward if this isn't a normal sort of thing to happen. So just ask the community of people, ask the staff, and ask the players so that you get all this information so that you can decide if bringing your camera is a good option. And if you decide to bring your camera, I suggest getting a camera that isn't big and bulky. You know, this seems big compared to most of the new cameras that are coming out today. So like this is like the only camera I really own that's a handheld camera. So like this is what I have like I'm able to bring. And so just like don't bring like a huge camera, just take something that you can probably slip into your pocket or into a bag. And if you're taking pictures and if it's allowed, and even if they don't mind seeing the camera, I really suggest, you know, knowing where your buttons are, keeping it put away, and whenever you feel like there's a great opportunity, you just whip it out, turn it on, and take your pictures. That way you don't have a huge distraction for other players, and you're not so distracted yourself that you're not holding the camera all weekend so that you can have some fun yourself. Canute's over there, by the way. So these are just some of the things that you should consider. I myself have been very reluctant to take pictures and stuff at LARP, and so mostly when I visit LARPs and I want to document what's happening, I usually stick to like the staff cabin and taking pictures of whatever costuming I've worn so that I don't disrupt any players, because even if it's normal, I feel so weird doing it. Like for example, at one game I visited, it was totally normal and okay to sit there eating modern candy with the wrapper in your hand while you're talking and play, but for me it just felt so weird and it distracted me in my head, so I had to like try not to handle modern things while I was trying to be in character because it was just distracting for me. And so you just have to decide what's right for you and what's right for the community that you're going to be documenting. And so at one game that I play, Avagast, where you aren't supposed to have things like this visible, I took some footage and pictures of the camp some during game off, and I got some pictures that I snapped. I obviously broke character to do this, but I thought it was worth it to show you guys what our camp looks like while it's like kind of lived in. So one morning, I think it was early morning before game off, when the camp was nice and lived in and You could just tell if people had been in there, and so it just looked really neat. And we had all the camp stuff set up. And I went out there early in the morning and I took pictures. And like I remember some people waking up, and so I had to hide my camera. And I snapped a few pictures one event with this camera completely hidden. I took the flash off. I made sure all the sounds were off before the event, and I snuck a couple of pictures. And I had to have less fun for myself roleplay wise, but I feel like it was a good sacrifice for that one time so that I could have some awesome pictures to show you guys. And I did it in a way that didn't break other people's immersion and didn't distract them from being in play. And that's one of the things you have to remember to do is think to yourself, is this going to be too distracting? Even if it's okay for the standards of the community and if the players think it's okay, just try not to overdo it. And like I said, I suggest keeping your camera put away until the time when you're going to use it so you don't walk around with your camera and risk breaking it or being distracting, and so that you yourself can have a lot of fun. And I'd like to ask you guys, how many of you take pictures or record at your LARP, and what steps do you do before you decide that you should take your camera to a LARP, especially if you've never been there before? And I'd like to know, do you find it distracting for you or for others, and how do you go about it and make it work for you? I'd love to know, and please leave a comment below and like and share and keep the conversation going, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.